Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode number 27 of the No Punches Pulled podcast. A little bit later than usual. I'll take the hit on that one. My bad, guys. Liam Tully
Makes
will
a
be
change
here.
for you being late. It's usually me.
Absolutely, mate. We'll swap the guard this week. JFT with me for now. Liam with me very shortly. Jay, we've had a couple of days to digest what happened in Riyadh at the weekend. First off, mate, how's things? Been 3 days since we did anything. It's the longest time ever.
Yeah, I was cold turkey in. I was missing the boys, man, missing the interaction. Yeah, it's been. I'm still not right from the weekend. I know that might sound crazy, but I got that hyped, ready for it, and it exceeded expectations, if I'm honest, for me, because I'm a purist, and there was some great boxing on show. There was some controversy. There was some, pure violence. There was some crisp boxing. It had a little bit of everything. I've thought I'd digest it, watch it the next day. I've watched it 4 times now. I've watched it from start to finish.
I could watch it 20 and you won't get bored. Mate, it was brilliant.
There's things that I missed. There's little intricacies that I've glossed over. Also, there were fights that I scored whilst eating a burger and salad, and I've rescored those fights, and my scorecard was absolutely terrible, which proves that you can't eat double cheeseburgers and salad while you try to score a fight. So yeah, judges, remember that one. But
man of many talents, mate, but eating cheeseburgers and scoring fights is one step too far.
And I'd like to thank everybody that interacted with their comments, because Sam kept putting them up and that blocked me out, dislocating my jaw to eat a double cheeseburger. But it was fun, mate. It was a great night. It was one of the fight cards that will go down in the annals of history. And I'm not just saying this to be cliche and shit, because they bigged it up as the best card in history. I can't say it's not. And there's been better fights and there's been better nights. But in terms of from front to back, top to bottom, the way it started, I mean, I know we had 3 fights prior to the main sort of curtain jerker, which was Buatsi versus Smith. But wow, that set the tone. And it didn't really waver. Even chewing through it all now and having some debate on it. It was fantastic, man.
Yeah, it really was. We've got a few comments coming through early, Jay.
Yes,
thanks for joining us. Humble Crumble. D-Dog wins the merch coming out. Big lads, news on that to come. D-Dog. Jay's.
You better be there. We've got a meeting at 9 o'clock, dickhead.
Love it. Love it.
Thanks, brother.
Better be robbed. Don't know about that. Humble Crumble. I thought Bibble won it clearly, but it depends what you like, I guess.
The boss man's here. Yes, Pat. How we doing?
Yeah, evening, Pat. Hope you're well, my friend. What a weekend. Buatsi Smith, most definitely fight of the evening for me as well. Pat Bibble, Beterbiev was great, obviously for different reasons, but I love a war, and Buatsi and Smith was great. Look, Jay, while we wait for Liam, Dan Evans in the house as well. Dan,
big Dan.
Hope you're well, mate. We'll be getting into that a little bit later on. That's definitely
pretty sure he owes me 10 grand. Just saying.
Yeah, and it definitely was an excellent press conference. I'll give you that, Dan.
It was extraordinary.
Extraordinary. Hi, Luca. Good evening, mate. I had a great chat with Luca on Sunday night, actually, about all things boxing. Big up, Luca, the main man.
Hi, Luca.
Yeah, we'll get into Eubank Ben Presser later for sure. That's definitely a good talking point. Antonio, big up to yourself. Hope you're well, my friend. Thanks for joining us in the States, my man. Parker Dubois never happened, Jay. 10 grand safe for now. With that. Jay, give me a little synopsis of the card on Saturday night. We're not going to go into details. It's kind of over and done with now. We didn't do a review show. I think it was a good thing we didn't do it, because I think we could have dwelled on maybe the bad that happened more than what the good that happened. And there was a lot of good that actually happened on Saturday night. Buatsi Smith, I'll give my little take on it. Buatsi Smith was phenomenal. Ajit Kabiel has announced himself as, for me, in the top 4 in the heavyweight division now. I'd love to see him, and although him and Parker, in my opinion, both deserve a shot at the heavyweight championship, I'd like to see them fight each other. I really would, because let's be fair, Dubois and Usyk are going to fight. I'm not that bothered about it, but it's going to happen. Kabiel and Parker, as long as they get paid extremely well, because they both deserve it, I think they fight each other, and I think that would be a phenomenal fight. Really good clash of styles.
I agree. I've got a different take, but
cool. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, we'll get your take. We have to get Jay's take. Ortiz Madrimov was interesting at the time. All three of us thought Madrimov won. I've watched it back. I think maybe we're a little bit wrong at the time. Yep. I noticed Ortiz's body work, especially, was really, really good. He fought a good fight there. I thought it was closer than a lot of people did still, but maybe
I think I had it. I had it something like 10-2 to Madrimov.
I think we had a bit of a nightmare there. But look, it was a great fight still. I really enjoyed it. Hamza, well, I'll let you talk about Hamza and Adames. Adames won that fight hands down for me. It was close enough. I think around about 8-4 sounds about right for me for Adames.
I think that's what I had it. I think I had it. Oh no, I think I had it 117, 111. I'll have a look.
You had it 9-3. Yeah, look, 8-4, 9-3 felt right for me. Even 7-5 at worst to Adames, but I think he was unlucky. Obviously Turkey running around the ring and so on and so forth.
I had it 116, 112.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. 8-4 Adames. He didn't do anything special. Hamza, obviously, we heard he hurt his hand, so on and so forth. Look, he'll be back, but Adames definitely hard done to there. Shakur did what Shakur was meant to do against Paddy, who put up a spirited effort. Fair play to him. Glad he got paid. The only fight I want to see for Shakur Stevenson is Tank, who we're going to get into a little bit later on in the show. Parker Bacoli, I said in the immediate aftermath at the time when we watched it, I wasn't too sure about the play, but look, Bacoli doesn't have to worry about money again for the rest of his life. He's cleaned up, so that's what they took it for. That's what
didn't get as much as I thought, though. Didn't get as much as I got.
I think it's all speculation, really. I don't know if any of the purses are actually confirmed. And Dimitri,
Shakur's on a right screw.
Yeah, definitely.
Shakur was the highest paid on the card, I think.
Yes, I couldn't. It's just too many conflicting reports. And then lastly, Jay, before I throw over to you, Dimitri Bivol was fantastic. What a performance! He put in against Beterbiev. I'm just going to do a few comments, mate, and then I'll throw over to you. Mr. Crick said Beterbiev won. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Crick, as always. Combos from Bivol not landing is clean. But Luke says big winners: Kabiel, Smith, Ortiz, and Buatsi. Yeah, Buatsi for me comes out with his stock way higher, even in defeat, and that just shows you when you take real fights, that can still happen. Dubois, Kabiel, Usyk, Kabiel. I think that's one of them. Dan, sorry, Usyk, Parker. Yeah, I see what you mean. Best page on of Harry Potter next. That to me makes more sense, Luca, that Bacoli got 2 mil rather than 600k. I'm not 100% sure about that 500-600k figure. Don't think he would have took it for that. It was indeed, Dan, beautiful from Dimitri Bivol. Jay, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, echoing everything you said, really. The night started fantastic, and usually when that happens, it's anticlimactic and it's downhill from there. But it didn't. It had peaks and troughs. There were part like the Madrimov fight, but then when I've watched the Ortiz Madrimov fight back, I got a totally different perspective. The only downside to the whole night for me was Turkey El Sheikh seeing the scorecard and telling Hamza Shiraz that it were 2 points down. I just don't like any of that. And then the fight result was a draw. It stunk. We said, didn't we, on the live, they're going to give this fight a draw. They're going to give, because they couldn't give it to Shiraz. They couldn't. He'd not done enough. If he'd have got that, it would have been very, very controversial. So they did the next best thing, which was give it a draw. The champion keeps his belt. They can rematch, and Hamza Shiraz still keeps his unbeaten record. That's twice. That's twice he's got out of shit, because he should have got disqualified against Bradley Skeet, which is another time when Hamza Shiraz. I think Hamza Shiraz will actually benefit from that, because he's had his bubble burst on the biggest stage possible.
Yeah, and he's kept
and he's kept his oar. So he's gonna learn from that, because I believe that Hamza Shiraz lost that fight. I don't believe Adames won it. I think that he was there to be beat. If Hamza Shiraz has broken his hand early on in the fight, then understandable why he wasn't throwing. But he didn't use his attributes, his range, which has got him to where he needs to be. I hope to God he doesn't move up to 168. I don't want to hear this. He's boiled himself down to the weight, because they've mentioned about him being too big for the weight before, and he said he's fine. He doesn't struggle to make it. Yada, yada, yada. So If he's bust his hand, fair enough. Met the fight as a rematch. Get him over here and show us what you can really do. I agree that Buatsi comes out of this fight with a lot of props, but, you know, as I said before the fight was made, and Liam, as I said before the fight was made, and as I've said every time I've watched Buatsi fight, he takes way too many punches, way too many shots. His defenses are not as good as people make out. He's brilliant going forward. He's terrible going backwards. And Callum Smith proved what we've always known to a lot of other people, that he's still got something left. He's one of the best body punchers in boxing for me, one of the best left hooks to the body, but he was actually throwing his brother's punch more than his own.
Yeah,
Liam's got more of a signature left right round underneath the elbows, and you could see Buatsi dropping his elbows. How he stayed on his feet in that fight is, I don't know. So he's tough, great, but he's proved that he's not at that level yet. He's not at that level yet. So, you know, back to the drawing board, you know, not too far down, but he needs to beat some of the domestic guys. Put him in with Anthony Yard if Yard gets past Lyndon Arthur. And let's see that fight made. Caballel proved that, you know, Zhang's not as good as everybody thought. I'm not going to say that Caballel, for me, is top 5. I don't believe he is. I know you're hot on him, Sam. I've never been hot on him. I don't think he's that good. If Zhang had had a bit of a tank and would have been able to jump on him, I think he'd have stopped him when he knocked him down. But you could see that Zhang was gassed after about a minute.
He was done. Zhang was
done. It was done. Caballel's body punching is absolutely fantastic. I'm not saying he's shit. He's crap. I just don't think he's as good as they're making out. And I think if he comes up against somebody that can go with him, then I think that's when we'll see if he is really as good as what they make out. But benefited from that night. He's put his flag in the centre circle and he's letting people know that he's here. Madrimov Ortiz, I struggled with this fight because I was eating, we were talking, I was laughing and joking, and I missed a lot of Ortiz's work. I'm happy to admit that I got the result wrong. When I've watched it back, though, I've watched it 4 times now. I've given it to Ortiz twice and I've given it to Madrimov twice. So it's subjective. But I haven't given it wide to either. So for me, that fight could happen again. Then what's the next fight? Parker did what Parker needed to do. Just battered and out of shape. Martin McCauley, who turned up for not. You could see the fact that Billy threw the towel in straight away. Yeah, he said, "Oh, I saw his legs and I didn't want this and I didn't want that." Well, if you didn't want that, you shouldn't have put him in there in the first place if you didn't think he had a chance of winning. We knew, I said, the look on their face when they were doing the pad work, you knew that they were never going to win that fight. I knew that I mean, I said he'd win because I thought he's going to jump on him and try catch him and knock him out. I didn't say that with any confidence. Joseph Parker just did what he needed to do, but McCauley and Billy, you could see when they were doing it, he was barely hitting the pads. It looked awful. And then I just looked and I thought, nah, not a chance. Caught him on the top of the head. There's no way he could do it. If you've ever had that happen to you, I've had it happen once. I've been clipped. I didn't see it coming in sparring and it just took my legs and I just couldn't control my body. My equilibrium had gone. I stood up and I had a bit of a stanky leg. So no one benefits from that fight other than monetary. They've got monetary gain. Parker doesn't benefit really. He didn't have a workout. McCauley, if anything, it's hindered his chances now of climbing the ranks, because if he struggles against a Jagba, he'll never get a top level fight again. I'm telling you now, you can timestamp this. If he struggles against a Jagba, we will not see Martin McCauley in any top level fights for at least 2 or 3 years until he's way past it. And then he'll just be cannon fodder for the likes of Atama and the up and comers who are there in. Good morning.
Morning in Australia, Peter. Thanks for joining us.
Last but not least, main event. Exactly the same scorecard as last time, but it went to the right person this time. There wasn't much different from the first fight, other than Bivol didn't allow Beterbiev to get on top. So this time he pushed him back a little bit more, whereas last time he let him come on and took a lot of the punches on his guard, which I think they scored last time. Whereas this time, he'd throw his combinations, and as soon as Beterbiev stepped in to throw his, Bivol went with him and sort of moved with him and either pushed him back or took him to the left and the right.
It was beautiful.
Just after him. Beautiful. It was fantastic. All in all, I don't think we'll see a better fight card this year, unless they come out and make some mad 5v5, but have to put some fights on that for it to beat this. It's very rare that I'm happy from top to bottom, front to back. I can't complain about anything on this card other than my scoring.
It definitely delivered. Liam Tully's joined us. Hope you're well, Liam. We'll get into this week's boxing. Liam, give us a quick overview before we do, though, of Saturday night. What are your thoughts? Just quickly, top to bottom on the card, if you want.
Yeah, start with Callum Smith. Callum Smith showed there is still plenty of life left in him. As his brothers said after the fight, and as he said, he doesn't need to fight anymore, but he does it because he still loves the game. And you don't come through a fight like that on Saturday if you don't still have the love for the game. Absolutely outstanding. WBO interim champion. Let's just hope whatever Beterbiev and Biv will do, they decide quickly. So Callum Smith doesn't waste what's left of his career in limbo waiting for those two to work things out. Buatsi, he'll come again. Look, we did question if this was an opportunity too soon for him, if Callum Smith had anything left. And that's how it transpired. He's just not quite shown he's got those killer instincts or that full professional approach to a fight yet in terms of a professional style. And that's what came true on Saturday. He had his moments. He hung in there. He clocked Smith with some beautiful punches. But on the whole, he just didn't quite do enough, did he? He was just a level below. Zhang Caballel.
Hello. Hope you're well, mate.
Look, Zhang, we questioned last week, was Zhang's victories over Joyce look even better because of where we thought Joe Joyce was at the time in comparison to the reality? That was proven again on Saturday. He's got no gas tank. He managed to drop Caballel, but couldn't finish the job. And those body shots, especially the second one where he's already on his way down, were absolutely brutal. Caballel is now 26-0. He's sort of, as I'll come on to with Joseph Parker in a minute, those two both need world title fights next. I don't think either of them will get them, sadly, but they both need world title fights within the next 12 months. Ortiz and Madrimov. Look, I scored it 118, 110 on the night to Madrimov.
Same as me.
I've gone back, and the closest I've got it is 115, 113 to Madrimov. I scored it that way 3 times. I've not got a draw. I've not given it to Ortiz. I can appreciate some of Ortiz's defensive work that I missed, but I can't give him the fight. Madrimov just had enough of a say in those end of round moments for me to edge it on the scorecards. It wasn't a 118, 110. I hold my hands up to that, but Madrimov should look to get that fight back and can take a lot of confidence for me. It's just tidying up a few things. Adames and Shiraz. Look, PBC fighters, we see them once a year and they light things up. And that's what Carlos Adames done. After 5 rounds, we were questioning him, weren't we? But he came back into the fight and he dominated down the back stretch. There's bigger questions to go into on this fight about scorecards, about Turkey in the Hamza corner, about all of that stuff. And I'll come on to that in a minute. But a draw absolutely stinks. It still stinks today. I've watched the fight back twice and I've actually gone wider than I did on the night to Carlos Adames. I can't make it any closer for Hamza Shiraz than the 116, 112 I had on the night. Shakur Stevenson, Josh Padley. Josh Padley won the hearts, minds of everyone out there, didn't he? Look, what a performance. He got to round number 9 and those body shots stopped him by his own admission because he'd done no conditioning on his body. He's been hit harder than that. 4 days notice, no body conditioning. That's what the effects were. He's going to get big fights now. There's already rumours going around about him landing a fight with Maxie Hughes for the summer. There'll be bigger opportunities out there for him. Shakur Stevenson, come on down and look for an Andy Cruz, look for a Keyshawn Davis, look for a Tank Davis. That's what we need to see from you now. I've got doubts about whether he would be able to do it against Tank Davis, but you can't not appreciate his boxing style. It's sublime. Joseph Parker done what Joseph Parker needed to do. Martin Bacoli fighting in Daniel Dubois' gloves. I mean, it was just one of the most craziest things we've ever seen, and we'll probably never see anything about like that again. I've seen a lot of people saying it was scripted, that punch didn't even land on the top of his head properly. Jay, you've just covered it all. Anything that lands on that part of the head completely scrambles your senses. You could see from the way Bacoli went down. He thought his legs were there. He went to turn and they just fell way underneath him. Bigger question about did Billy say yes before Martin even got the call, etc., etc. Yep. We know why they were there. He spent all his Sunday in the malls with all the YouTube outlets, you know, spending his money and having a good time before he's now gone back to Congo. He's
to build a mall. To build a mall.
More than likely, mate. He lost the fight. He's now lost.
I'm not joking. He was laying the foundations this morning. Good on him, man.
Fair enough. Look, he's lost the final eliminator against the Jaguar now. And as Jay said, for me, if he doesn't put in a good performance or struggles against the Jaguar, you think he couldn't get a fight before, you wait. You just wait. I mean, beating a Jaguar and it's not an eliminator, I think he's going to struggle to get a fight. That's another story. The main event, I could watch that fight on repeat very, very happily, and I would love it. That was another 36 minutes of just boxing perfection. Dmitry Bivol has now gone 24 rounds with Artur Beterbiev, and not only not been dropped, but not looked like he was going to get dropped in either of those two fights. His chin, his way he's able to move out of the way of punches is outstanding. Give Beterbiev his credit. He showed he can box, because from rounds 3 through to round 6, he was boxing Bivol. He wasn't looking to take his head off. He was boxing. He was picking his shots nicely. I thought Bivol won the first fight and was gutted that he didn't. I had it 116, 112 on Saturday and was delighted that he's got it, as my mates have clipped my reaction on our live and send it around all our group chats. I won't be celebrating a fight like that anytime soon. Whatever happens next, if we get the trilogy, fantastic. If we don't, Bivol deserves to decide if he wants to move up to cruiserweight, what he wants to do now. He is the kingmaker. If he wants to go and chase cruiserweight, let him. But do not have him now need to wait for Canelo. He doesn't need Canelo anymore like he did 2 years ago. He is now the kingmaker. He can do what he wants to do. Artur Beterbiev, fantastic career. One of the most dangerous men in his prime since an early Mike Tyson for me, the way he was able to just flatline anybody. It's a hell of a career, a hell of a legacy. Don't allow your legacy to be ruined by pushing your body too far and coming back for a third fight. That's where I leave it.
Just a quick one there. I think Beterbiev's come up. I don't think you can put him like Tyson. I think, he was knocking people dead, but Tyson was knocking tin cans out. Beterbiev fought some good people on the come up. Mike Tyson, for me, is another story. I'm not going to get into that now, but he's overrated.
Right, boys, we're going to move forward a little bit here. Lee, as always, thanks for joining us, my friend. I'd like to see Callum against Benavidez. I would love to see that myself as well, Lee, definitely.
Yes.
Peter joining us from Down Under. Peter, appreciate you, as always, very early in the morning, I believe. Good domestic card this Saturday. Liam Wilson's back out in action. So we'll keep an eye out on that one as well. Top man, we've got Dave at Rope-a-Dope. Subscribe to the Rope-a-Dope Boxing Podcast. I was on myself last night. I know they've been on filming with Liam for the Fight Night Pick Show over on JFT channel tonight. So two top lads. Hope you're well again, Dave. No, Jay mentioned it earlier, but we're going to stay away from that one now. I feel like we've done it to the... To be fair,
he's full of shit. He's still holding out for a job. That's all.
We talked about it on Saturday in the immediate aftermath. To be fair,
I'm joking.
Didn't we? The draw was great on Hamza Shiraz. Pete said 1 in 340.
Nice.
Good man. I agree with what Lucas said here as well. He had it narrowly to Madrimov, but the fight wasn't enough. He didn't do enough.
They said he had bronchitis. I mean, I don't know how true that is. I have heard Eddie Earns say that. So I don't think he had gas to do that. Ruled him out of the Boachuk fight, didn't it, in December? So he had it. Maybe he just hadn't fully recovered.
Apparently, the doctor told him not to fight, and that's out of Madrimov's mouth. That hasn't come out of Eddie Hearn or anyone else. There's an interview from Madrimov going around saying he was told not to fight, but he didn't want to pull out and lose Turkey payday twice.
I don't think he'll get much work going forward. He's not a big name. He's not that exciting.
Risky, man.
I think Matchroom,
that was his last fight with Matchroom, mate. That was his last Matchroom fight. We've seen Eddie be ruthless with bigger names. Look at what he done to Lee Wood after what Lee Wood done over here for him. We've seen him be ruthless with bigger names. I think for Madrimov, unfortunately, he's going to get cast aside, which is a shame because, look, he's a very, very good fighter. He's just not done enough. He's had both of his last 2 fights there. He's just not grabbed it by the scruff of the neck and pushed it over the line, has he?
Yeah, you need to have the full package these days. Thanks for joining us, Wade. Says scoring it from Madrimov's crazy. That narrative is all online, to be fair. Depends what you like. Yeah, he's out of the Boachuk fight, Luca, for bronchitis, so he might not have just recovered. It might have been, not out of his system. Whatever. Eddie said it was one of his best nights in boxing. Madrimov lost. Yeah, that's a fair point, Luca, definitely. Right, boys, let's get into this week. We've got Plenty of boxing on. I know Frank's got his show in Bournemouth. Garner's fighting for the European super featherweight title against Jimenez. Joyce is back up, but I want to center our focus really on the Belfast co-main and main event, and also what's going on at the Barclays Centre with Tank, Roach, and what's on the undercard. Wade had it 7-5 to Ortiz. Yeah, that's not biased in my opinion by you, Wayne. I think that's a fair enough scorecard. Yeah. We'll start in Belfast, lads. We may as well, because I know Tank against Roach is a bigger profile fight, but I'm more excited for Lewis Crocker against Paddy Donovan this weekend. I think it's going to be absolutely sensational. I watched their face-off with Darren Barker. I don't know if either of you have watched it yet on the Matchroom channel. Really, really interesting. Both guys super confident, to be fair. Yeah, Wade is right. Subriel Matis is fighting on the zone this weekend as well. I should have mentioned that against Valenzuela. I did see that. Rocky and Andes too on Friday night. So there's plenty of boxing on this week. But yeah, Crocker Donovan boys. Billy against Andy Lee again, a rerun of last week. Obviously, that was inadvertent. We've known about Saturday night in Belfast for quite a long time now. We'll do our prediction shows tomorrow night, giving away our picks. Obviously, Liam, your show with the Daves will be out as well by then. But just give me an outlay. Obviously, it's an IBF final eliminator at 147. Jaron Ennis, as Billy told us the other week, Jaron Ennis isn't going to fight Crocker or Donovan. He'll be either at 154 or in undisputed fights if he beats Stanionis in April. The winner's going to be in a great, great position. It's a good fight, isn't it, Crocker Donovan? It's going to be a ruckus atmosphere in Belfast on Saturday night to sell out. Paddy's going to have everyone from Limerick up. Obviously, Crocker's the home fighter. Crocker's, for me, has got a point to prove after the Conor Walker fight. He faced a bit of criticism after that. Paddy Donovan kind of dealt with Lewis Ritson, who Conor Walker kind of had a back and forth fight with. So I think Crocker was a massive favourite around about 6 to 8 months ago. I think the pendulum's swinging back in Paddy Donovan's favour a little bit as we get closer to it.
Mate, it is a hell of a fight. Look, it's Northern Ireland against Southern Ireland. You've got all the narrative around that. You've got two very established trainers going up against each other as well. But what you've also got is you've got two fighters with the oaths to protect that are still making their journey in boxing, deciding that now is the time to come on a collision course. And it is your old adage, it's the boxer against the puncher. It's the punching power and, come forward aggression of Lewis Crocker against the slick box off the back foot, looks to counter and wear opponents down to Paddy Donovan. You are right, mate. Crocker has questions to answer. That Conor Walker fight, without the point deduction, I think if I remember rightly, it would have gone down as a draw with how the judges scored.
That Conor Walker fight. Thanks for joining us, Gunnar, as always, my friend. He's just said the same thing in here, Liam, about what you're about to allude to.
Yeah, it's just, he had questions to answer. Billy said there was reasoning behind the performance, whatever you want to believe, but that wasn't what we thought Lewis Crocker was out after how we'd seen him in fights before. For Paddy Donovan, he just seems to be improving all the time. Look, I made a big deal last week out of the Andy Lee effect for Joseph Parker going in when he was meant to be fighting Dubois. I'm going to make the same big deal about the Andy Lee effect in this fight. Paddy Donovan has been moulded by Andy Lee to be a back foot boxer, but when the time is right, to turn the screw and to turn the pressure onto a fighter. And that is exactly the style that is going to, for me, make this a very difficult night for Lewis Crocker. If Paddy Donovan wants to stay on the back foot, frustrate Lewis Crocker and pick him off all night, he will. But if with that will come Lewis getting frustrated, he's going to have to go big. He's going to have to, take risks. And that will play into Paddy's counter-punching style as well. A lot of people think that if a knockout's going to come in this fight, it's going to come from Lewis Crocker. But I wouldn't be so sure. Timing and precision does more than speed. And what does Paddy Donovan have in abundance is his timing. His timing is what throws fighters off. Lewis Ritson said it after the fight. He says, yes, my legs weren't there, but the other thing that surprised me with Paddy is just how efficient he is with his work. Everything he lands, the timing is just on point. There's almost nothing he felt as if he could do to get out of the way of the punches.
Good evening, Hawkan. Hope you're well, mate. I know you're in Belfast for the fight this weekend, so big up. Enjoy that. Jay, thoughts?
Yeah, I've gone Crocker since the fight was made. I don't think. As disrespectful as this may sound, I've not bought into the Paddy Donovan hype. I keep waiting for him to show me how good he is. he looks the part in spots and spurts, and he's got a slick style, and he keeps his hands low, and he's a counter puncher. But I just think that Crocker hits hard, and I think that he's going to set the tone pretty early. I've got a feeling he's going to work Donovan to the body, and then Donovan's potentially going to go into his shell.
More than Paddy early, but as Luke's saying here, I think Paddy's timing's good, like Liam said with Ritson. It's going to be an interesting clash. Who can assert themselves early? I think you're right.
I think if he hurts Donovan to the body, I think we'll see Donovan recluse into his shell a little bit. Yeah. So he won't be as open and as dramatic with his clusters of counter punching. But obviously, he's trained by Andy Lee. So I'm expecting him to have great tactics and to try stay at range. He is a classically trained boxer. He is significantly better with his fundamentals than what Crocker is. Crocker's more of a, I don't want to say a brawler because I don't want to sound disrespectful, but he's more of a box fighter than a slick boxer. I can see ways for both of them winning it. I think Crocker could out-muscle him and possibly stop him down the stretch. But I could see Paddy racking up a 10-2 points win by just staying out of range and matadoring Crocker. But I don't think the crowd and the atmosphere will allow him to do that. I think they're both going to get drawn in. And I think we're going to see a war. And I see this one going 7-8 rounds.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a barnstormer.
Yeah, I think Crocker's going to stop him.
Top man, Hawk, we'll keep an eye out for that, my friend. Yeah, look, it's a great fight. I'm massively looking forward to it, boys. On the chief support, Craig Richards, who's meant to be on the Saudi card, randomly out of nowhere. He's fighting Paddy McCrory. I think that's a fairly decent fight, to be fair. McCrory got stopped by Berlanga, then had the pro box fight where he got badly wobbled and navigated his way to a points decision. Craig Richards is left Shane McGuigan now. He's back with Tony Sims, I believe, for this fight. He's got a point to prove because he was soundly outboxed by Willie Hutchison last time out in the 5 versus 5, wasn't he? I think this is going to be a good fight. McCrory against Richards.
I think Richards is too good for him, if I'm honest.
He should be, shouldn't he?
If he's got something left, I say that every time he bloody boxes. I've said that since
I know what you mean.
But if Richards turns up, he's too good for him. I think he's too good for him. But if Richards is not at that level, then it brings them closer together and we could see a fantastic fight. And I think that's possibly why the matchmakers have made it. They're possibly hoping that the Willie Hutchinson fight was a sign of things to come and not just an anomaly. I don't think Richards boxed particularly well that night. I think his tactics were wrong. He was trying to outbox a slick, fast counter-puncher. If you're not that fast yourself, then that's the wrong tactics. And Craig Richards is not known for his blistering hand speed. He's known for his work rate and his consistency and his engine and the ability to just keep going phase after phase after phase after phase. Now, if you're trying to fight somebody that can box and move and you're just not plodding forward, I'm using that expression, but I don't mean he plods as such, but just constantly back, forth, you're going to get outboxed. And that's what happened against Willie Hutchinson. McCrory, I don't think is as good as Hutchinson. So I could see Craig Richards winning this fight fairly comfortably. But as I say, every fight we see Craig Richards in, I'm always expecting his levels to drop, and then he does something that shows me that that's not the case. Mm-hmm. I still think he's got a little bit too much left for McCrory. We have seen him beaten soundly before now. I think he was lucky to scrape a win on that pro box card. He was badly hurt in that fight several times. And I think Craig Richards could do something very similar. Craig Richards hits deceptively hard. I mean,
he can bang. Richards can. There's no doubt about that.
He's a solid puncher. Very, very solid puncher. But I'm intrigued for the matchup because, as I said, if one turns up and one doesn't, then we could have ourselves an all-out war. I'm excited for it. But I'm picking Craig Richards to win that fight.
Yeah, look, lads, the interesting thing about this fight is Craig Richards is coming down to 168 for the first time in his career. So Podrick isn't moving up. Spider's moving down, which at 34 years of age is either a masterstroke to maximise what he's got left of his career, or it's
I thought he'd boxed at Super Middle. No. I'm pretty sure I've seen him box at Super Middle.
What?
I'm pretty sure
He's British anyway.
I'm happy to be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I've seen.
I'm pretty sure both his British title attempts and obviously his world title fight were 175. So we've not seen him at
175, Liam.
I've seen it at 168, mate.
Don't know. I've got it on here. It says 175, but I don't know. Maybe it's wrong. To be fair, it might not be a credible source. This.
I've got it here on Box Rec at 168, super middleweight, 10 rounds.
Interesting.
But either way, if Craig is moving down, it's an interesting call. Like, as I said when I was doing my show a little while ago, he's 34 years of age. So it's not, it's not often you see a fighter moving down in weight at any point in their career, especially down the back end.
You dare say that's old, Liam.
What does he have left? I wasn't going to say it, so I'm just going to say the back end of his career, mate. Don't worry.
Piss off.
What has he got left is the question. Like we say, I mean, Willie Hutchinson beat the brakes off of him, if we're being really honest. What did, no one really, a lot of people were sold on Willie Hutchinson after that performance against Craig Richards. I wasn't in that camp. I was more disappointed with what we saw from Spider that night. Against Buatsi, you could argue he froze under the lights against Buatsi. It was, Battle of London. It was his biggest fight of his career at that time. He didn't turn up. His performance against Bivol, look, that was an anomaly in terms of it was behind closed doors, and after 8 rounds, he was level in the fight against Bivol. You'd probably argue his best night was in defeat to Bivol. I just question now, why is he still boxing? I don't think 168 or 175. For me, it doesn't matter. I don't see him getting beyond a British, maybe Commonwealth title. I don't see a way to world honest for him, if we're being honest. And McCrory, until he got stopped by Berlanga, he had a good 6 rounds. He'd at least won 3 or 4 of those rounds, so we know he can box. And that's the reality here. If moving down in weight doesn't work out well for Craig Richards, if McCrory is on it, then we could have a bit of an upset in this co-main event.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, definitely if it's at 168, I think it probably does favour Paddy. He's done the weight many more times than Spider has. Let's move over to New York then. Tank against Lamont Roach for the WBA Lightweight Championships, headline in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. For me, it's actually a sneaky good card. The co-main is Rayo Valenzuela, first defense of his WBA 140 championship against Gary Antoine Russell. 17-1, 17 knockouts, only lost to Alberto Puello, who's facing Sandor Martin on the same card for the WBC 140 championship. Winner's going to be facing off with Dalton Smith. So 3 world championship fights on that card, boys. I'm interested in all of them, and honestly, I don't think Puello against Martin will be a good fight on the eye, to be fair, but I'm interested to see who's going to be facing Dalton, or who Dalton's going to be facing, should I say, for the title.
He should be ringside, no?
What's that, mate?
He's going to be ringside, no?
Yeah, well, he should be. If I was him, I would be. We've seen Sandor Martin loads of times. We've seen him beat Mikey Garcia. We see him fight Tio. I think that was a bit
beat Tio, didn't he?
Yeah, it was a contentious one against Tio, wasn't it? And Puello is obviously coming in undefeated. He's probably going to be the slight favourite. And Valenzuela against Russell, for me, is going to be interesting as well, because if Valenzuela gets clocked, it's going to be interesting because Russell can bang, but Valenzuela is a good boxer. We saw what he did to Pitbull. And Tank against Roach. Look, Tank can switch off, but he's got the eraser, hasn't he? I must admit, for all Tank's flaws outside of the ring, I do enjoy watching him fight.
Six-round fight, that. It's a 6-round fight.
I could mirror the Frank Martin fight for me. I think it could be nip and tuck, and then Tank's just got the bombs, doesn't he?
He does it all the time. I mean, he did it against Rowley. I mean, he did it against flipping Santa Cruz. He was getting beat against Santa Cruz, and
Santa Cruz was close, and he KO of the year, didn't he? Uppercut.
As the commentator was saying, he hasn't got the power to hurt. Bang.
Yeah, amazing.
Folded him in half. And Tank's got the bit between his teeth. He's talking about retirement. He's finally come out and said Floyd Mayweather ripped him off and robbed him and used and abused him, and he's sort of turning on everybody that's been around him. And yeah, for all his flaws outside the ring, I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. He's a fucking scumbag outside of the ring. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He's been, he's had several convictions for some disgusting things that any man, woman, or any human shouldn't do. So look, irrespective of that, he's fucking awesome to watch. He's absolutely fantastic to watch. And he's the best. He's the best at that weight. I don't care who you are and what you say. I don't think anybody beats him other than a prime Loma, but we haven't got a prime Loma. We've lost that guy. That guy's gone. That guy's 6-7 years ago. I don't think anyone's got the power to to mix with him, to be able to worry him. I think he holds a good shot and obviously gives a good shot, can box as well. His boxing is so underrated. I think he's just this power puncher. But he's good enough to be able to be 6 rounds down and then knock you out in the 7th.
That's it.
Because he has that equalizer. And he's done that in several fights where he's been outboxed. And it's usually through range because he's short, isn't he? He's little. He's got short arms. He's 5'3" or something like that. He's 5'5" in Jordans, maybe. He's a small dude. And a lot of the guys that have given him trouble, Rowley, Santa Cruz, Martin, have been longer than him. And it takes him a while to find his range. But once he finds it, good luck. Because if he clocks you, you're either getting hurt or you're going to sleep. And he's like a shark that with blood in the water, he does not let go. He's not letting you get through a round if he's got you wobbled. There's only the bell that's going to get you out of there. So, yeah, I don't see any different. You could have a script for a Tank fight. He'll start slow. He'll get clocked. He'll get outboxed. Finds his rhythm. And then within 2 rounds of finding his rhythm, they're usually out of there. And I don't anticipate this weekend being any different. The only person that will beat Tank is Tank. Very similar to, and I'm not saying the styles are similar, but the stories could be, is Adrian Broner. But I think Tank's a little bit more serious than what Broner was. He don't want to be a rapper and a movie star and father 25 kids. Or, he's got kids and he's had his domestic issues. But he's serious about boxing, and I think Adrian Broner sort of did it half-assed. And he could have gone down that same route because they were friends, but he's distanced himself from those guys now. He still does a lot of shit that people don't like, but ultimately he's serious about boxing. And I think the only person that could beat Tank is Tank himself. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he walks away in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to put my negative for the night on this. Look, I agree with everything that you have both said about Tank. He is box office. He deals with fighters in a way that it doesn't matter what point of the fight it is and how it's going. He's always found a way to turn the lights off on an opponent. However, for the last 4 or 5 years...
I've just realised he's got his Island Frampton kit on. You fucking...
It's coming on for the Crocker support.
He's just brought it on for the Crocker. I noticed him taking
of course.
Go on. Good lad.
Anyway,
I'm interested in Rayo against Gary for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, mate, I've lost my train of thought. Tank.
Sorry.
Tank for me, other than Ryan Garcia, since he's come up to in and around this weight class, we haven't seen him call for unifications. We haven't seen him want to take on other champions. It's a frustrating thing for me because this is a step down on Saturday night, Lamont Roach from Frank Martin. And it's a step down from the fight before that and the fight before that and the fight before that. He's not making the positive steps. Look, I was very bold after Saturday night and said that Gervonta Davis stopped Shakur Stevenson inside 8 rounds if they fight. And I believe that truly because of what we know. Gervonta can box and he can punch. That is a lethal combination. Shakur doesn't have any pop in his punches other than against someone who has no body conditioning in Josh Paddy. That's the reality. I want to see him win on Saturday. I want him to see him win well. And then I want to see him calling for either Shakur, flipping Keyshawn Davis, Andy Cruz, Loma if Loma's going to fight, whatever's going to happen now. I want to see him call someone out on the mic. I don't want him harping on about Floyd Mayweather flipping, taking his money and robbing him.
I want to see Tank in a big fight, man.
Like, we want to see something now.
Not a drained Ryan Garcia. Get a big fight, man.
Or bringing Leo Santa Cruz up in weight, but still fighting for the belt from the division below. Like
Barrios too? Didn't you not fight Barrios when Barrios is dead at the weight?
Yeah, look, that's what he does. He fights people. He brings them down and he puts all the chips on his side and then he delivers the performance. Don't get me wrong. He delivers statements and we're talking about him and we're going to be up watching him on Sunday morning, because he always makes a statement. But I want to see unification fights. He's already talking about checking out and that he's got 3 fights, maybe 4 fights left in his career. Okay, so make these 3 or 4 fights the best fights possible. Define a legacy in this era with Shakur, with Andy Cruz, with Keyshawn, etc., and then ride off and do whatever you're going to do with your questionable life choices. But I don't think it's going to happen, mate.
No, it's coming, boys, and I didn't want to have to say this, but do you know what we're going to see next year? We're going to see Floyd Mayweather, Gervonta, Tank Davis at 140 or 147. I'm telling you now, that's what the building is up for. This is bullshit. This nonsense that he's talking about Floyd and this fallout. I'm not saying Floyd hasn't robbed him, but I've got a horrible feeling that we are going to see some kind of nonsense between these two, and we'll see these two fight each other. I hope not. I hope I'm so wrong, but I'm barely wrong.
I've got horrible feeling. Tank winning, Roach is going down. Betting dead for Crocker and Donovan. Lucas says, yeah, I think Crocker opened as a big favourite, and then
it's narrowed in.
Swinging back to Donovan now for sure. Tank versus Shakur, not disappointing. Correct, Peter. Yeah, agree with that. Problem is, Pat says Tank is on PBC and the biggest platform for him, so that he will fight Shakur. Yeah, I agree, Pat. Sadly, I think
what's funny? Al Heyman loves staying in the shadows and doing deals in-house. Gervonta Davis loved doing that before he ever moved on to PBC. Those two were perfect for each other because they can just stay doing cute little in-house things that benefit each other. Because you made the Mayweather comparison, Gervonta Davis is trying to end his career like Floyd Mayweather did by handpicking opponents that he's going to beat. The difference is Floyd Mayweather's legacy was already in the history books by the time he was doing that. Gervonta,
he hasn't fought anyone.
Gervonta needs to define his legacy, not be handpicking opponents to pad it out. Look, he's a five-time world champion, but 3 of those belts are WBA regular title, for God's sake. So there's an argument they don't even count as world titles. It's like, you make all this noise and say, you know, X, Y, and Z. Give us some good fights. I'd love to see him cross the floor and leave PBC, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen unless PBC go down in a blaze of glory this year, which is highly likely. I just don't think we'll ever see Tank fighting anywhere else. Imagine getting Tank on some of these Riyadh season cards. Imagine Tank is a free agent and he moves around where he wants to go to finish off his career if this is what he's doing. But he's so exciting. But with Tank Davis, and it's a point one of the Daves made when I was just chatting with them now, is I don't enjoy a Tank Davis fight week because it's the same BS talking that leads to nothing. I get excited when he walks to the ring. I enjoy the backflip off the top rope when he wins, and then you're waiting another 8-10 months to see who he's going to pull out of the woodwork. He's 30-0 now. 30-0, 28 stoppages. This isn't where his career should be. He's a very, very good talent, but we should be sitting here waxing lyrical about a unification fight or something like that, not Lamont Roach, who has nothing more than a puncher's chance.
I think Lee's made a fantastic point here, and I spoke about it with the Daves last night. Adames getting that happen to him probably rules out Gervonta Davis ever traveling to Saudi, in my opinion. He's not going to fight as a B-side fighter. Shakur's Turkey's fighter, Shakur's Eddie's fighter, Shakur's in with Riyadh season. If Tank goes over to fight for Riyadh season, he's technically the away fighter. Tank is not going to give up all of that to go and get screwed in Saudi. Absolutely no chance whatsoever does that fight ever happen under Riyadh season. I completely agree with you. Lee, and if I was Tank, I wouldn't do it either, to be honest. After watching what happened to Adames, it kind of just sets... I don't want to talk about the Adames Shiraz thing again because we've done it to the death, but I do agree with the sentiment behind that completely.
Mate, I agree with the sentiment, but Tank doesn't need an excuse to avoid crossing the floor, but this will just give him one. That's the sad reality. He needs no excuse, but this will give him one. And I guarantee this will be his reasoning for not crossing the floor to fight Shakur. Look at what happened to my fellow PBC fighter on a Matchroom, Turkey, whatever we'll refer to it cards. It's just a shame because he's got 3 fights left and we've got 3 fights like this. If I had a 3rd fight, I doubt I want to watch it if it's still this level of opponent.
Yeah, definitely. Hidolfo Torres has joined us. Thanks for joining us live today. I think Puello might nick it on points himself.
Same.
I think it'll go 12.
Sorry. If this was Sandor Martin just after the Teo fight or just after beating Mikey Garcia, I think he'd be able to cause Puello problems and maybe nick a decision. But the reality is it's not this version of Sandor. This is his last stand at trying to get his hands on a world title. It's just as good as he was back in his day and as many good moments as he's had, this is him cashing out of boxing for me. And Puello on points, it's going to be a horrible fight for me. It's not going to, like you said earlier, it's not going to be nice in the eye. It's going to be horrendous, but yeah, you can't see past Puello. Younger, fresher man should be able to deal with the fighter that's coming towards the end of his career.
Yeah, you definitely think so. Pat's saying, just before we move on from this one, Tank will never go outside of Al Heyman. Yeah, I agree with that. He is their last big star. Benavidez is there as well, to be fair. Let's not forget he's becoming a bit of a star. Boys, we'll finish this week's show on, as Dan Evans referred to it earlier, the excellent press conference that is just taken place. Yeah, I agree, Rodolfo. I do like Puello. Good performance last time out.
Russell. You're a dog.
So yeah, he's one to look out for. And it'd be a good fight with him with Dalton if he goes through. But yeah, boys, let's talk about it. Happened. Eubank Ben opening press conference. Plenty of back and forth with Hearn and Shalom. Ben Shalom stood his ground.
Go on, Ben.
Me and Jay were talking about it just before we came on, actually. Anytime Hearn tried to speak, Chris Eubank Jr. told him to shut up, which is quite amusing, I have to admit. Ben Shalom was calling Conor Ben less than British level. He's not fought anyone at less than British level. Nigel Ben was over there getting involved. I have to admit, I'm not that keen on the fight for obvious reasons, but that presser was quite entertaining.
To have the egg lined up.
Oh, yeah, to be fair, it's gold from Eubank Jr. It's gold. I've seen the picture of his jacket with a load of eggs in.
Did he have a few?
His pockets nicely stored up.
I was surprised. I was surprised to let them get so close to each other. I was driving home, so I was listening to it.
They're doing it tomorrow as well.
They cut to Bellew, and Bellew said, "Oh, Connor's going to do something here," and then whack.
I thought it would have been Connor doing something.
Yeah, well, everybody's
normally quite level-headed, isn't he?
Yeah, mate, that's the last time.
Pajamas, to be honest, Conor Ben. He turned up in a pair of pajamas.
Yeah, they ain't letting them face-to-face tomorrow. There's no way.
Nigel Ben, I've just spoke to my lad there. And he said that Hearn has said that he's on site when them two see each other now. I don't think Eddie means no. Come on, Eddie had just pretended he were blind, wasn't he? Who's that?
Eddie Hills.
The Iceman. But they can't have them two near each other again because it will go off. It will. Yeah,
if you get them in the same room, Conor Ben's going for him. Did you see him trying to get held? But like he was like a little
get off me,
ball.
Get off me.
Yeah, get off me.
But yeah, it was fantastic. That's what we like to see at press conferences. Shit talking.
It always feels a bit like
shit talking. It is a bit.
I know what they're doing, don't they?
They do, but I love the fact that Ben Shalom stuck up for himself because Eddie Hearn would try to belittle him as he always does, and we got a little bit of bite back from Ben. I think I didn't see this, but apparently Turkey dialed in.
Yeah, he did, but I didn't.
Ade looked really uncomfortable, and then he called Ronnie Davis, Ronnie Shields about 4 times, and Eubank Jr. pulled him up on it. And I don't know why they wheel out Ronnie because he doesn't train.
He was his dad's trainer, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he's never trained Eubank. He's been a bucket carrier. I don't know if
they give him a job.
I think they give him a job. But Jonathan Banks is the trainer. Big up Jonathan Banks. I talked to him
love Jonathan
on socials. Banks. Great coach, lovely man. I'm not a fan of the fight. I don't believe that. As I've spoke to Pat on socials this evening, it's a misfits fight. It should be over there. It shouldn't really be a proper boxing match. The fact that the weight divisions apart. It's very
they're all about the rehydration conference and everything. Eddie's like, "Oh, you signed up to a bad deal for your fight." I don't know. It's all.
It's
Eddie loves the limelight, doesn't he? Let's just put it that way.
He does. But do you know what? It's created more pay-per-views for them. It's created more drama.
They're getting into the casuals, mate. The casuals will lap it up.
We're going to have 2 months of this now. We've got another 2 months of this shit backwards and forwards.
It's gone viral. It's a viral moment that he's egged in the
casuals. Because of that viral moment, you can't have them. There'll be no face-off, will there? There'll be no face-off.
Yeah. The job's done emotionally.
Yeah. Done. Oh, yeah, it'll sell out. Where's it at?
Tottenham.
The stadium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fucking sold out that much. I ain't selling Spurs.
It will sell out, though. Definitely it will.
What, 60,000?
Yeah,
there was 60. How ironic that no sooner had...
we'll use the whole venue.
No sooner had the egg hit Ben Ben's face and this grapple was pulled apart with the ticket details and the ticket prices released. It's almost as if it was a plan.
So do you think they've actually done that? Do you think they've agreed to do that?
Nah, I don't think they've agreed. No. It's personal, man. It's personal between them two. You know, it is so much has happened with the whole first fight, considering Ben, popped in the fight week, wasn't it, of the first fight?
Yeah. He's been cleared. He has been cleared. He has been cleared.
Yeah, he's been cleared.
He's been cleared.
Has he been cleared? I'm not sure.
Been cleared.
Like you said to me, I'm amazed. I'm amazed they let them get that close. I'm amazed they were allowed that close. And if you watch that video, Eddie Hearn told security to take a step back. They knew something was going to happen. Did they expect an egg to go across Ben's face and Nigel Benn to have Eubank Jr. underneath his neck?
Eddie Hearn pushed Ben Shalom as well. Did you see that?
Yeah. Oh, did he?
He did, yeah. Did you expect Shalom a shove? That's Warren and Hearn that have shoved Ben Shalom now.
Poor Ben.
Like the verbals that were going on.
You need me. Get me in, man. Get me in. Put me in, coach. I'll sort
the verbals that were going on, the little touches on the chest and stuff. They expected that, but I don't think you couldn't have scripted for Eubank Jr. to whip an egg as good as it was. It was a fantastic press conference. Too many times pressers are done for fights and they're flipping drab and boring. That was anything but. Yes, okay, it was repetitive and it was the same issues coming back, and Turkey dialing in was just a little bit cringy and it didn't sit right with me. But we described this fight as the circus coming to town. Well, the circus has flipping rolled up, ladies and gents. That press conference was the start of the circus, and it's just going to carry on. April the 26th is a hell of a long time away. There's another press conference on Thursday. They'll be in camps with them. There'll be all sorts. There's a hell of a lot of spiel and build-up and narrative twisting to come.
There is, but, let's just make it clear. Let's just make it clear. Conor Benn has been cleared. He has been cleared. For anybody that doesn't know, he is being cleared. We don't know of what, how, by whom. We just know he's being cleared. Just get that straight.
What's all this about?
He's been cleared, Sam. That's all we need to be told. Don't have to explain himself. I've been cleared.
The fight. I hope Eubank breaks the Yeah, that'd be great, Lee, definitely.
No, because if he breaks he can't break the rehydration clause. There's a massive financial penalty. Massive.
Yeah, I did hear that. Big up, Jam.
Yes,
I hope you're well, my friend.
Boxing chat. How we doing, brother?
Boxing Media Hub legend. What happened? What did Turkey do? Tell Eddie to do something when he called in.
Probably jump on one leg and bark like a fucking dog. He'd do it, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Little dog.
They'll hate us or it, won't they? Yeah, or 6 million security guards in the middle.
Look, that fight didn't need selling to a casual audience. Us as boxing, that watch boxing week in, week out, we have our opinions on it. Jay, you don't think it's going to sell out Spurs?
Well, I think it needed that tonight. For the fact.
Mate, within half an hour, those tickets will be gone on Friday. I will put.
Only for touts, though. They're not selling 60,000 tickets to legit fans. I don't believe it. There'll be bums on seats. We will see bums on seats. I don't think the whole stadium will be open. I just don't believe it's a big enough fight.
I do wonder if we're going to get to fight that day.
It's one for the casuals. People like us and everyone in the chat aren't bothered about it, but the casuals will lap it up.
Mate, I do wonder if we're actually going to get to fight night.
Possibly not now.
Yeah, you could be right. They need to keep them away from each other now.
Mate, not even from that. I just... Something in my head is just telling me something's going to happen in the lead up to this. And then would it be a bad thing if it doesn't happen? From my point of view, no. I don't think it is a bad thing. Look, it's a cracking card. And as long as the undercard fighters get taken care of and get given their platform to fight, I've got no issue. But the main event doesn't sit right with me, as we all know. And then something like today happens and it blurs the lines between Misfits and the fact it's professional boxing. Like, this is the shit that we see happen at Misfits press conferences, and you accept it because it's Misfits and you know there's some scripting in there. Like Eddie Hearn, I've seen it come up on my X. He's saying, I don't know if we can do the press conference now on Thursday.
Oh, fuck off, Eddie.
We don't need tomorrow's media only, so it's going to be like not as raucous, the crowd or anything. But
yeah, mate, we know that. But Eddie Hearn's
near each other.
Right. Well, look.
Mate, Eddie's now pushing the needle, isn't he? Saying, "Oh, we can't do it.
It's off."
We know what Eddie's like. Fast Eddie's car salesman. But right, who wins the fight then, boys? Who wins that fight?
Eubank for me. I think he stops him.
Same. I think he makes it fairly comfortably. I think he stops him. Yeah. I think he stops him inside 6 rounds.
Ben's last 2 fights, he hasn't looked like he could punch, to be fair. I'm not insinuating anything, obviously, but as we don't know, and he's been cleared, but
I totally agree. But he's been cleared. He has been cleared. That's exactly what he said.
Yes, Pat. I think you speak on behalf of us boxing fans who sit here and watch boxing every week. It's a fight for the casuals, man. Addy calling.
He called him Shields. It was awful because I thought, who's Ronnie Shields? But bless Addy, man.
Who is Ronnie Shields?
I haven't got a clue. Clarissa's coach. I don't know.
No, I've heard of Ronnie Shields, though. Definitely heard that name.
Eubank Jr. should win this fight fairly comfortably, but it's a circus, mate. So who knows what's going to happen?
I don't believe Ben hits as hard as he thinks he does.
He definitely doesn't now.
He's been
former
cleared.
pro boxer, now a trainer, Ronnie Shields. So he is a boxing trainer at least.
Yeah, he's not the one that was there today.
Just wasn't the one sat there.
I'll give Eubank Jr. his credit, though. He called him out on it. He said, listen, he's been in boxing for 40 years. Get his fucking name right. And Addy was like, gulp.
Yeah. Trains FA Ajagba.
Well,
that's where I
that's why then that might
Filip Hrgovic.
Yeah.
Right.
Erislandy Lara. So he's got a decent stable.
Good.
David Morelli trains as well, Lee said. There you go. He's top American trained. It's not that bad, Addy. You know, he's had a bit of a mare, but we love
I'd rather talk about some of the other fights on the card. We've got Liam Smith and McKenna, haven't we? That's a fantastic fight. We've got Billum Smith coming back for the first time. You've got, since his defeat against Serdo, you've got some good fights.
Like it's not a great fight for me stylistically on paper, but it's a decent matchup.
Yeah. Look, those 3 fights are fantastic, and unfortunately, they're not going to get the eyeballs they deserve or the attention they deserve from a wider audience. We'll give them all the attention in the world because of what the main event is. You know, you sign up for the circus, and you're kind of playing support acts. But again, because Turkey's involved in its Ring magazine, the paydays are that much that similar to when you get the call to go over to Saudi, you don't say no to the opportunity because you don't want to turn down the payday, do you?
Yeah, that is very true. Just a quick one before you wrap up. Yeah, definitely, Jams, agree with that. You shouldn't mean, 166. Liam versus, that's the best fight for me.
I think Liam will walk through him. I don't see this killer in McKenna that everybody
could
sees.
be too soon, but at the same time, you could be catching Beefy at the right time. So it is interesting.
But I don't see this killer, this concussive puncher that everyone.
We'll find out a lot about McKenna on that night, April 26th.
Hey, look, it's similar to the narrative people were having with Callum Smith last week that he's shot. This is the time for a younger, hungrier fighter. Well, Beefy's got that same narrative as well, and I think Beefy's got.
I was waiting for Sam to finish off his last statement with live on fucking pay-per-view. April 26th. Live
on pay-per-view. But
after a percentage.
Boys, tell you what, we'll leave it there for tonight. I think we pretty much covered everything that needs to be covered. We had a slightly later start time, so don't want to dig into anyone's personal time here. Liam ruins McKenna. Beefy's hair makes everyone think he's finished. He's got nice teeth too, Luca. He's got nice
teeth, man.
Nice teeth.
Liam's been grey since he was a teenager.
He has actually. Stephen got found out by Lee Cutlass. Hope Aaron doesn't go the same way. I was wrong about Mundo. Let's see if true. Everyone said that
back against the Smith. I picked Mundo.
True.
I picked Mundo to beat Buatsi, and everyone said I was wrong. But I think Liam. I just think Liam's still got it. We can't read too much into the Eubank fight. He crashed the weight because he couldn't train properly, and it was just all wrong for him. Liam's only really lost to the best, apart from Eubank. He's lost to Munguia, Canelo. Is that it?
Munguia, Canelo, and Eubank, and Kurbanov, the Russian.
But that was a robbery, that wasn't it?
Which was a robbery, which is why we're not thinking
that fight. Yeah, he won that fight. But look, if Liam Smith turns up, then we'll see. And McKenna beats him. I will, not happily, but I will. Hand on heart, agree that McKenna is better than I thought. Not that means anything to him or to anyone, But I'm just saying he's yet to prove to me that he's good enough to beat the likes of Liam Smith. If he beats Liam Smith, the kid's decent.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely. Big up, Pat. Thanks for tuning in, as always, my friend.
Thanks, guy.
Have a great evening, mate. Jams to the Eubank Jr. was devastating. Yeah, true, it does. Yeah, we'll see what he's got left against McKenna. It's a good fight.
He knew he won't. Yeah, but let's just say he fought that night knowing that there was a slim chance that he'd win.
He wasn't right, was he, that night? No, but no, we got plenty more coming up.
No excuse. I lost the fight.
Rest of the week, we got the predictions for the main ones. Tank, Crocker, probably do a couple of the co-mains tomorrow night. Liam's fight night picks out over on JFT tomorrow lunchtime with the Daves at Rope Boxing. These boys will do straight talk on Thursday over on the JFT channel. So make sure you subscribe to Jay's Fight Talk. Of course, we will be doing the watch-alongs for both the Tank and co-main and main on the Crocker card as well. Richards McCrory and Lewis Crocker against Paddy Donovan. Some great fights for the weekend. Massive thanks to everyone who's tuned in as always. Luca Jams Boxing Chat, DJ Pat, Lee Murray, Hawkham was with us.
Mr. Lancashire.
Peter Lancashire from Australia. Thank you very much. Rodolfo Torres. Gunnar as well. Gunnar Emerson, thank you for joining us. Dan Evans, Mr. Crick, Antonio, Humble Crumble, and I think that's it, to be fair. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Guys. We'll see you tomorrow night for the predictions. I hope to see everyone at the weekend for the watch along. As always, I
agree, Luca. I agree.
I know Jay knows a few of them, Jams. I know they're proper boxing people, the Smiths. And thanks very much, guys. Thanks, Lee. Have a great evening, mate. Good to have you with us again.
Thanks, Lee.
Talk some boxing. We'll see everyone later in the week. Thanks to Jay and Liam as always, and we'll see you next time, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.